Welcome to BK Academy of Chess. The Pirc Defense, also known as the Pirc Defense or Yugoslav Defense, is characterized by the moves e4, d6, followed by knight f6, g6, and bishop g7. Black allows white to gain a stronghold in the center with plans to counterattack. The main line runs e4, d6, d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6. Here, white's main options are f4, knight f3, f3, and other sideline options include bishop g5, bishop c4, and g3. The Austrian attack begins with f4, and continues bishop g7, knight f3. This is a well-respected line and was a favorite of Fischer. In placing pawns on d4, e4 and f4, white gains a stronghold in the center, with plans to drive down the center and/or to attack on the king side. In the main line, black will usually counter against the dark squares and weaknesses created by the central advance, with e5. This is one of the most ambitious systems against the Pirc. Black's main options include castling and c5. The most frequently played variation after castling is the wise variation, bishop d3, knight c6. The sharp try with e5 has unclear consequences, which was much played in the 1960s, though it has never attained popularity at the highest levels. Another move, bishop e2, which was often seen in the 1950s and early 1960s, but after Fischer was defeated by Korchnoi, players, including Fischer, started playing bishop d3. The popular play in the 1970s was with bishop e3, and in the 1980s, bishop e2 was revived with the following line: c5, d takes c5, queen a5, castle, queen takes c5, king h1. Instead of castling, black can immediately strike white's center with c5. Here white usually plays d takes c5, and black responds with queen a5. Another common play for white is with bishop b5, which can become very tactical after bishop d7, e5, and knight g4. After c5, if white plays the sharp e5, black can find good chances with knight fd7, e takes d6, castle. The classical two knights system begins with knight f3, followed by bishop g7, bishop e2, castle, castle. White plays the classical pawn center with pawns at e4 and d4, foregoing the committal move f2 f4 as black castles and sets up a solid structure. The most common responses for black are bishop g4, c6, or knight c6, with bishop g4. The main line from the mid-1960s onwards. White's third option after g6 is with the system f3. However, after bishop g7, bishop e3, c6, queen d2, b5, it was considered easy for black to equalize. Also after f3, bishop g7, bishop e3, instead of playing c6. Gennady Zaitchik showed that black could castle, and after queen d2, strike immediately at white's center with the gambit e5, delivering a severe blow to the f3 system. However, the system is still viable by delaying f3, and playing bishop e3, and queen d2, in various move orders. Introduced by Robert Byrne in the 1960s, bishop b5 is a sideline which, though c6, is considered more flexible, as black may wish to save a tempo in anticipation of white's plan of queen d2, followed by bishop h6, by deferring bishop g7, as long as possible, playing for queenside activity with b7 b5 and queen a5. A sideline offering a sharp try for advantage is with the line bishop c4, bishop g7, queen e2, knight c6, and after e5. Things can get very complicated. White can also fianchetto the kingside bishop with g3, and bishop g2, followed by knight ge2, a solid sideline which Karpov used from time to time. And there you have it, the Pirc Defense. Thanks for tuning in to BK Academy of Chess, where together we build and over the board we even the score.